All right. Well, welcome everybody officially to the one-man a cappella band presentation, right? So I do have a little PowerPoint that I'm going to walk you through. And just to keep us organized. Oh, we got another friend. Amazing. You are just in time. We just started. This is one man a cappella band. We'll chat a little bit, but I just want to tell you guys a little bit about me. So, my name's Nina. I mentioned before I went to SU and I sung in the Mandarins a cappella group, and I was also music director of Cape Harmony. If you're familiar with the semi-pro group Cape Harmony, which was an amazing. There's us. We're so cute. I studied music industry at Syracuse University, so I just kind of gravitated toward choral arranging, choral music in general, and also studio recording. And so at this point, I'm an a cappella recording engineer and producer. I've been working with some good groups post-pandemic, which is awesome. I had a semi-pro group, Common Sound, in Boston, Massachusetts. So I have a lot of like music going on there if you're around that area. Where are you guys from?
I'm
York.
close to you.
York, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Nina, are you in
Boston? I'm currently in Syracuse, New York. I grew up there.
I live in Metro. I live in Metro West Boston. So
okay, cool.
Chicago
California.
Sorry, Chicago suburbs.
Chicago. Oh, that's so cool. Thank you, CASA, for doing this. Like, West Africa, amazing.
That's cool.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're able to join. Awesome. Okay, and there's me looping. In this case, my loop pedal is actually on the floor like a real guitar pedal. That's my old machine. But so I mentioned before, I would record my own arrangements, multi-tracking on my own, but it was limited because I didn't really want to perform live with a backing track. I wanted to do something a little bit more compelling as a live show. So we've already talked about some of these questions. Experience with looping. Anyone else want to add some, like, do you have a loop pedal? What loop people have you been listening to? What kind of exposure to looping have you guys had? You can unmute or just put it in the chat. We cover everything. That's fine. So I would also like to know why you want to learn about looping, right? So we mentioned like songwriting was of interest, and experimenting with arrangements. Friend has a looper and is having a grand old time. Absolutely. That's great. Yeah. And any other reasons that you think, like, why are you thinking about getting a looper?
Let's say I already answered this, so
Yeah.
I'm leaving for somebody else.
Yeah. Well, let me know. So what are some of the specific things that like you're hoping to learn today? What do you think you need help with the most right now? So yeah, David, I think you mentioned like, maybe there's capabilities that you weren't aware of that are on a looper that you can experiment with. Anything else that you think would be most helpful for us to get to today?
For me to perform, it requires no less than 4 people. I sing in 4-part harmony. But what we really need is if I could go out and perform by myself in 4-part harmony.
Yeah. So live performance. We also mentioned making sure that your live performance is not boring, right? Looping is by nature repetitive. So making sure we're keeping it exciting is definitely an important thing to cover. Anything else that you guys think would be important to get answered today? That's fine. Those are all really great things. Thank you for sharing, everyone. And I mean, I'm just curious, I guess. Do you guys have an idea of what's kept you from getting started at this point, other than me?
At this point in time, I don't know what's possible. So I'd like to see a little bit from you as far as what's done, how it's done, what can be done. And I don't know necessarily that looping is something that I'm going to get into, but I'm certainly interested.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because I have seen it done, not so much with voice, but with instruments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any other kind of hurdles that have kept you from making the leap so far? From anyone else? You can type away too. That's cool. All of this will be covered. But let me know if something. Yeah. Okay. That's a great segue here. So let's talk about like actually the equipment you need to get started, right? So what I like to think about is signal flow, right? The actual pathway that the vibrations that are coming out of your mouth actually take. So I'm singing into this microphone. This is a SM58. You can get it it's the most cost effective for the quality. It's standard. You've probably used this a million times on stage, right? So I would just go with the gold standard if you're looking to buy a microphone. Sure, SM58. And I wouldn't go to like the Radio Shack ones that look like this. You want to make sure it's actually the Shure one because it's better quality. So I'm singing into the microphone, and then you need an XLR cable. You can just write that down. It's a 3-pronged cable that connects to the actual machine, right? So there's a bunch of connections back here. So the sound goes into the microphone and is recorded on the actual machine. But it's not actually like there's no speakers on this machine or anything. So we have to connect those two. So these cables here, you need to basically plug in an amp, like or in this case, I'm just have a rig plugging it into the computer, right? So you need to get the sound into the machine and then out of the machine, right? And then the 1/4-inch instrument cables is what you need to do that. Make sure you're using an acoustic amp, right? Because in this case, you don't want guitar distortion. You want to make sure it's specifically for vocals or acoustic guitar because any effects that you're going to put on it should be vocal effects that are separate from the processing of the instrument. I hope that makes sense. So on the amplifier, there are some effects, like there might be reverb right on the amp. Battery power is also something to consider. In my case, I've plugged everything in and then I have to turn it on. So I have a power cable plugged in here. But my last one, you saw a picture of the one on the floor. actually used battery power, which I kind of miss. And you might want to get other effects pedals, like an octave pedal or a distortion pedal for vocals. And basically, again, you think of signal flow, right? So you go from the microphone into the octave pedal into the looper pedal, because you're actually looping the octave, right? So you just got to think of like what order to put it in. Any questions about that? Actually hooking it up. Great. I'm gonna guess that means you got it. So this is a screenshot directly from the manual for my particular pedal. It's just basic illustration of how it works, right? You press play and it records. You press play again, and that tells the machine how long the loop is going to be, right? And then it'll just continue to record until you press it again to tell it to stop recording. So in this case, it's like I didn't do that right. So start it. So I pressed it to start recording. I pressed it to tell it how long the loop is. And then I just kept singing and pressed it to stop recording. Press it to stop recording. And I accidentally pressed it to stop recording. Mine also has an undo feature. Very helpful. So that's basically how it works. Here's just like a different way of putting it. So record, press to overdub. So you're telling it to stop the loop and just keep recording over that amount of time. You press it again, it's just playback. You're not recording anything. You're just going to sing over it. And then there's a stop button. Right. And there's also different channels here. So you can play this one and let's say the bass line. So I can switch these at any time. Right. So that's basically on a baseline level, that's what a looper does, right? You record, you play back, and you have different channels, and you can stop a loop. Another way you can do this, so like I have 5 channels here, so instead of pressing the button to just overdub, you can actually start recording on a different channel to save time, and you don't actually have to press both buttons at the same time. So like it goes like and I can stop any one of these. Right. So you can get creative in the arrangement about how you want to use those different channels and basically how much overdubbing and singing you want to do it at one time. But these are the tools we're going to use to arrange, right? Choosing a loop pedal. All right. You want to figure out how many channels you want. This one has 5. I never use 5. Okay, I use 3 at the very most. I don't think it's necessary to use more than that. That would be a very long song, in my opinion. Especially because like I mostly do pop and rock songs. And essentially the form of a pop and rock song is like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. So normally what I'll do is have, I'll show you. So the first verse, I'll record parts for the first verse on channel 1. Then I'll add some parts on channel 2 for the chorus to make it a little bigger. Then I'll stop channel 2 to go back to verse 2. So we're kind of pulling it back a little bit. And then pressing play again on channel 2 to make the second chorus bigger than the verse again. And then what I'll do is I'll stop channel 1. So you're only having the fun chorus stuff playing, which is different. I mean, like a bridge is a section that's supposed to just sound different than the rest of the song. So this is my solution for that. Just stop the verse because it's been playing this whole time. And then you only have the fun chorus stuff going on for the bridge. And then for the last chorus, play channel 1 again, and everything plays at the same time. It's just loud and you're just jamming, right? So verse, chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. I hope you can see the play and stop buttons that I'm pointing to. Questions about that so far? I'm going to elaborate, I promise.
Yes, you say you've got 5 channels, but I heard you when you first started recording, laying down some vocal percussion. If you record a track of a bass drum, for instance, and then on top of that, you record a snare or a hi-hat, can you merge those into one channel after you've recorded multiple loops there?
You would have to record them all on the same channel. So in my first example, all 3 sounds were on the same channel.
Got it. So you're overdubbing on one channel, so they end up becoming. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so you can have unlimited layers on any channel, right? And you can actually add to different channels as the song goes on, right? Because like, let's say I have this, and it's playing back and I just want to sing with the bass drum. And then after the first verse, I just want to add something else. Right. So I can overdub at any point just by pressing the button to record it. And which is what we're going to do, right? So I personally suggest 2 or 3 channels is all you need, right? Here's a few models. The Boss RC30 is what I started out with. It's got 2 channels, and it operates like a guitar pedal on the floor. Sometimes I used it on the floor, sometimes I didn't. I sort of prefer not to have like something in front of me. I kind of miss being free to just like move around like a singer and just have the pedal on the floor. But this definitely has more pros than cons. The Boss RC300 is a little bit more advanced RC30. It's typically played on the floor, and it has 3 channels. It's just bigger, so it's easier to press all the buttons with your feet. This is a Boss RC505. So you can't really play it with your feet. They've got these like shiny buttons that are lit up, right? And it has a lot of power. There's a lot of effects to it. This is my optimizer. It's just built in. This is my compressor. Makes me sound like I'm actually a good beatboxer. I've got some vocal distortion that I can put on if I want to make it sound cool. Yeah, and there's also some other options. Ableton Live is a super powerful computer program, digital audio workstation, and you can do all sorts of stuff like that. So it's actually kind of overwhelming to me. I prefer to just have like one thing in front of me that I know how to play. External multi-effects pedal. So let's say if you want to get an RC30 that's limited in effects, you can always, like I said, like I mentioned before, you can get like a Voice Live external effects pedal and plug it in so that you can actually record the effects into the looper. And amp effects, we also mentioned, like a lot of acoustic amps might have reverb or delay or a chorus effect that just thickens it up a little bit if you want. Another question you want to ask is like, do you want battery power? Right? So how many channels do you want to play it on the floor or with your hands? And do you need battery power? But I have to warn, I miss having a battery operated looper, but during the pandemic, I went through a long period of time where I didn't pick it up, and the batteries leaked into the pedal, and that's how it died, and I had to buy this guy. So just be warned, if you're not going to play for a while, remove the batteries. Any questions about different options for buying a pedal? Is that helpful?
Okay. Actually, where's the best place to buy it? I mean, do we just go to Amazon, or do you have considerations for your first purchase?
I mean, I went to Guitar. I like to just go to Guitar Center because 9 times out of 10 they'll let you try the amps, see how they sound. So for that kind of stuff, I would just go there. For the actual pedal, I mean, I did my research and then I just went on to sweetwater.com. They usually have they have excellent customer service, and the prices are generally pretty good, probably better than Guitar Center. Yeah, so I recommend sweetwater.com. I have my sales reps, Jeff. He calls me sometimes and sees how I'm doing. So
even I've heard of Sweetwater. They're awesome.
Yeah, I've called them multiple times to be like, my RC505 isn't working. Like, I'm not getting sound, and they'll help you out. So you get some tech support with that. Yeah. So Sweetwater is very good, and their customer service is awesome, and they'll usually give you good deals. If you call your sales rep. Yeah. So, any other questions about shopping? You love shopping. And once you get it, read the manual, right? I mean, it sounds like a lot, but like actually read the manual and try out all the different stuff. Some people go through the manual on YouTube for you and walk you through it. Honestly, it's worth the time just to get in there and figure it out. It'll take a long time and it's going to be really frustrating, but so like David, that'll answer your question. If you really want to know everything that your machine can do, get into the manual and read all of it. Yeah. So for example, this machine has input effects. So if I have a bass effect, it'll get recorded onto the channel. And then I have track effects. So I have reverb. That's going to affect the whole track. Yeah, so it took me a while to set this up, and I needed the manual. It was like a 2-week process. But now it's like set, and it's exactly how I want. I basically created my own instrument. Cool. So we're going to do a song together. And I'm just going to walk you through like how I would do Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. He's a loop artist himself, so this is just a really very straightforward example that'll just get you started. And then you'll figure out more stuff to do. Okay. So here are some of the tools that I use. Analyze the form, rhythmic harmonies, record solo vocals, background harmonies, gospel harmonies. So the first thing I do is listen to the song and create a roadmap of the form of the song. So let's listen to the song together. And I just want you to listen for the different elements that come in and out of the song.
Conversation with just me and trust.
So the first thing we hear is we've got the rhythm section, kind of bassy, percussion-y stuff to start out with.
The club isn't the best place to find a lover, so the bar is where I
You guys
go.
hear that? Give me
Me and
thumbs
my
up.
friends at the table doing shots,
in the
tripping
chat.
fast
Let me
and
know if
we
you
talk
can
slow. And you come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand, stop it, and the man
Can
on
you
the
hear me?
jukebox, and then we start to dance. And now I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in
Now the
love
chorus
with the
comes
shape of
in,
you. We push and pull like a
and I hear some
magnet.
claps. Those are new.
Although my heart is falling too, I'm in love with your body. And last night you were in my room, and now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Well, I'm in love with your body.
So that part
I'm
here,
in love with your body.
that's a loop.
I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. Every day
And so does the melody, by the way.
something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. When we came, we let the story begin.
So the claps and the OIs go away.
First date. You and me are thrifty, so
And we've
go
got
all you
that.
can eat. Fill up your bag and I fill up the plate. We talk for hours and hours about the sweet and the sour and how your family's doing okay. And leaving, getting a taxi, kissing the backseat, tell the driver make the radio play. And I'm singing like, girl, you know
This is the
I want your
pre-chorus.
love. Your love
actually
was
the claps
handmade
come in
for
a little earlier
somebody
this time,
like
right?
me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do.
More of the same.
Although my heart is falling
Chorus,
too,
claps.
I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room, and now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Well, I'm in love with your body.
Percussion.
I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. Come on, be my baby.
So now we just have the claps and the harmonies.
Come on, be my baby. Come on, be my baby. Come on, come on, be my baby. Come on, come on, be my baby. Come on, come on, be my baby.
And the rhythm stuff comes back in.
My baby, come on. I'm in love with the shape of
So we got everything and we're dancing.
pull like a magnet do. Although my heart is falling too, I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room, and now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with your body. Come on, be my baby. Come on, come on, be I'm in love with your body. Come on, be my baby. Come on, come on, be I'm in love with your body. Come on, be my baby. Come on, be I'm in love with your body. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you.
All right. So you guys see what I did there? Basically, I'm just planning out what kind of sounds, which loops I want to have playing at different parts of the song to keep it moving and also make each section different as the song goes on. We don't want, all the verses and the choruses and the bridge to sound the same the whole time. It's going to get boring. So what I do is make a channel map, right? And this just reminds me which elements go where. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay down the rhythms. Now, obviously, I don't use a click track when I play. So the first thing that I put down has to be something rhythmic, whether it's a bass line or like a rhythm guitar kind of thing or beatboxing, right? Because that way I'm not really I'm gonna lose the beat and everything has to be really precise. So I'm just gonna lay down the first part. Doom, doom, da, 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 doom, okay, so you see how I just like kept layering until I was done, and then I just pressed it again. But I had to specify how long the first loop was going to be. So this is my verse 1. The club isn't the best place to find a lover, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the table doing shots, drinking fast, and then we talk slow. You come over and start a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand, stop the venom in on the jukebox, then we start to dance. And I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I might be crazy, don't mind me. Say, girl, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. So notice I did not spend a lot of time in the beginning of the song like laying down all the harmonies and stuff. I want to get to the melody. I want to get to the part that people are going to recognize, right? So I do as little as possible to get the foundation and then go right in. So that was a big chunk of the melody that people are going to catch on to. So then we can get into the chorus. Come on now, follow my lead. So that was a little hands-free layering of claps, right? I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. And though my heart is falling too, I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room, and now my bed sheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with your body. Oh, I, oh, I, oh, I, oh, I. I'm in love with your body. Oh, I, oh, I, oh, I, oh, I. I'm in love with your body. Oh, I, oh, I, oh, I, oh, I. I'm in love with your body. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. Okay, so what happened there? So we have rhythmic harmonies in the beginning. Record solo vocals like, I'm in love with your body. That's a loop. It repeats, right? And because I looped it, we can still hear the melody while I'm recording the background part. Oh, I, oh, I, oh, I, oh, I. So recording the melody, as long as it's like a regular repetitive 4-bar phrase, which is very common in pop music, we're not losing the melody, we're keeping momentum going, and you're building the background parts. Oh, I, oh, I, oh, I, oh, I. I'm in love with your body. Oh, I, oh, like I'm not even singing and we can hear the chorus of this song. I'm in love with your body. Oh, I, oh, I. So a lot of acapella arrangements, as you guys know, sounds like you all have some sort of arranging experience. You guys, it's about tension and release. We build and then we pull it back. right? So in this case, we've built up this chorus, and we want to pull it back for the second verse. You chill. So we can add some background harmonies just to make verse 2 a little bit different than verse 1. And we have time after the first chorus because we're pulling it back a little bit and we're kind of simmering. We can take our time to add these into verse 2. One weekend, we let the story begin. We're going out on our first date. Fill up a bag and we fill up a plate. We talk for hours and hours about the sweet and the sour and that your family is doing okay. Leaving, get in the taxi and then kissing the backseat. Tell the driver make the radio play. And I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. You might be crazy, don't mind me saying, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Coming now, follow my lead. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. Let my heart just fall into. I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room, and now my bed sheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with your body. Okay, so what just happened there? We have the melody already going, so that gives me a chance to. I'm in love with your body. But the reason I recorded the percussion on channel 1 is because the bridge does not have beatboxing, and the bridge is going to be on channel 2. We're just going to have claps, OIs, and gospel harmonies for that. Right? So I'm going to mute channel 1 for the bridge. So we're right here at the chorus. I'm in love with your body. Come on, be my baby, come on. 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 Come on, be I'm in love with the shape of you. Come on, be my baby, chorus. Come on, be my baby, going in the song. I'm in love with your body. Come on, be my baby, you're in my room. Come on, be now my bed sheets smell like you. Come on, be something brand new. Come on, be I'm in love with the shape of you. And you don't have to end the song early. Like, you could let this go forever and just sing over it. I'm in love with your body. Right? So let's review what we did here. We analyzed the form and we planned out what parts of the song we want playing at different times of the song, making sure all the sections are different. We started with rhythmic harmonies. We need the rhythm section right away, but not too much because we want to get right into the melody. Record solo vocals, right? If there's a hook that's repeated, might as well record it because you're that'll give you some space to record background vocals while people are still hearing the melody, and it just makes it more exciting. Improvise background harmonies, particularly at moments where you want to pull back the energy and add some harmonies. You want to find good arrangement instincts for when you want to do that. And gospel lyric harmonies. So that's the bridge. That's this. Come on, be my baby, come on. Come on, be my... And it's very similar to record solo vocals because the first loop was, come on, be my baby, come on. Come on, be my baby, come on. So you'll have the melody playing for every loop. All you're doing is adding harmonies over, And it's really exciting to do. It's a very cool arrangement technique. Especially like I'm a soprano, so the higher I go, people will go like, "Oh my god, how high is she gonna go?" And then we bring it all in the last chorus. Any questions about arranging like that? Thank you. Yay, sopranos. You guys can unmute now. You know what? Maybe let me stop sharing for a minute.
It's amazing how much you can pick up in such a short amount of time.
Is it
I did not
helpful?
know much about arranging or harmonizing or things like that. I spent time in orchestra, in chorus. I played bass guitar in a heavy metal band. I was a DJ. I hosted karaoke shows. I didn't learn a lot about music theory and arranging until I spent a few years in the Barbershop Harmony Society.
Oh, barbershop, yes.
Hmm.
Former
You
barbershop
cannot do
artist.
barbershop on the looper, though. I'm telling you right now, that's just should not be done.
No, you shouldn't, because and that's actually the difficulty with the early music stuff that I was doing too, because if you're a really good group with a good blend, you actually lean into each other, and barbershop does that more than anybody else does. You know,
And I
Yep.
really enjoy it. I'm getting into a really good competitive quartet right now, but you can't really resolve around the circle of fists while you're using the looper. So yes, I'm catching on to what can and can't be done.
Well, you could, if like, I mean, if you wanted to endeavor like an 8-bar loop with lots of changes, and then just have like those many changes go, you could do that, but it would be a lot more difficult to make it interesting the entire time. Right.
Correct. And it would take too long to set up.
and the problem
Right.
is with live performances without looping, you pitch sometimes shifts, and if you're singing live, you can shift with it.
Yes.
I know that my Renaissance, my early music group that I managed and sang in for over a decade, we would always end up at least a half tone off by the time the song was over.
Right. You're adjusting
as
to
long
each
as you go
other.
at the same time. Yeah.
Exactly. As long as you shift with each other, then that's not a problem. If you have any recorded tracks, though, that's a problem. Unless you're somebody that can literally use that as a baseline to stay with the original pitch, you're fine. But if anybody changes and somebody doesn't, yeah, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also like looping by myself because I can change the key of my songs any performance that I want to. If I'm having a day where I don't have my low notes, I just start the song a little bit higher. And I kind of almost just like have a feel of a starting note that's comfortable. So I can start in any key that I want, and just sing
Yeah,
the
the good
harmonies like I normally
you've
do.
got good relative pitch. The trouble is, if you're like me, I don't know what if I just pick a note out of thin air, which is a good one for me that day. I don't always know which note that is. I just
Right.
know where the melody goes from there.
Yeah, I don't actually know what keys I usually start. It's just where I know I'm going to sing the best.
Right. Which is good
Yvonne-
relative pitch is what that is.
Yeah.
Yes, Kellys tend to have that good relative pitch.
Yvonne has a question here. For Shape of You,
Kellys
you
are
had
awesome
2
people.
channels going with. I wonder if I've never actually counted. Actually, yeah, if we bring the channel map in, we had a lot more layers on channel 1 than channel 2. Can you remove one of the layers in one channel for a few measures and then bring it back? Short answer is no. What you can do is there's an undo button on here. So if you want to just like record one thing and then take it away for the rest of the song, potentially you could just record it and then undo it. Like, I wonder what would happen here. What's the last thing I recorded? The Come On Be My Baby, right? So if I didn't want the Come On Be My Babies to play for the last chorus, I could undo it.
Do you have a redo also option on that?
Yeah. It works the same
So
way.
you could actually bring it back then, but only the last thing you did.
Exactly. Only the last thing you did.
So yeah, the answer is yes, but it depends.
Yeah. Right.
Just like a lot of things in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, I wanna keep in touch with you guys. You can like honestly just like Google me and you'll find all of my information. But I want to hear how you guys are doing with your looping and send me questions. Also, if you reach out to me, I'll send you the link to this presentation because this list of tricks is going to help you a lot, I think.
Yes, please, because I didn't write down nearly enough notes.
Okay. Yeah.
I will absolutely be reaching out to you. And that's lovely to stay in touch. That would be cool because I do really want to progress. It's that and collaborating with other people are the two directions I want to go next as a solo artist.
Yeah.
Since I actually lost my choral group right before the pandemic hit. I was actually leaving it. And now I don't feel comfortable joining another one. So I'm trying to find ways to keep music in my life on my own.
That's also just an amazing thing about solo loopings. Like I graduated from college and for a while I didn't have a group of people to sing with, but I had to keep singing, right? So that's when I started recording myself and my own arrangements. Listen, in the chat, I just posted some people that are looper artists that you can check out. And I also have a list of things. Here's a list of what you need to do to get started, right? What you need to do is download the Loopy app or the Voice Jam app. If you're not going to get an actual machine, try it on the app first. Find a YouTube video of a song that you like, of someone who's already doing it, and do exactly what they're doing. Sing exactly what they're singing on your machine, just so you can get a sense of like what buttons you need to press to make it work. Like imagine if you're learning to play piano, you're playing this like simple random composition that some old guy wrote a long time ago, right? So in this case, just copy someone, sing exactly what they're singing so that you can get comfortable on your machine. Then pick a simple song like Shape of You or, another pop song that is going to be kind of easy to do. Analyze the form, go through all these steps and use these tools to create an arrangement, plan out your channel map based on the form. Just transcribe it like we did with this Ed Sheeran song. Again, just getting comfortable with how it works and what your style is. And then you're going to start getting ideas for like, ooh, this would be a cool adaptation of Wonderwall or something like that. I'm definitely working on that. And then songwriting, right? Songwriting is huge. All you need to do is lay down a beat, start improvising, and you're going to have a song, or at least an idea for a song. Any other questions from you guys? I don't want to keep you guys and Shane too long, but
yeah, how well do you know Dick Sharon?
I don't think we've actually met.
Yeah, I've met him. He's obviously the founder of CASA. Well, maybe not obviously, if you didn't know.
He's too famous.
He started CASA in his dorm room at Tufts University in 1992. Sorry, my baby is being a little rowdy. But yeah, he's still on our advisory board and is very involved in kind of giving us ideas for what we should be doing next. For instance, he reached out to us about 6 years ago and said, you need to do video awards. So we started doing video awards and he was right. So anyway, but yeah, if you, he's very approachable on social media. If you, I'm sorry, baby, I know. If you want to glean any of his musings.
Yeah, I've found that. I've had some back and forth with him on Facebook. I've met him 4 times. He's been the guest clinician at a couple of, he was the keynote speaker when I went to Harmony University in 2018 in Nashville. That's where I took my arranging courses. So yeah, he is very approachable. I just kind of, sorry to name drop there, but I figured with your a cappella background and looping background. I thought you would
These are the
have,
people. Yeah.
yeah.
She's definitely not far removed. You're less than 1 degree, or like 1 degree of separation to me.
I envy you, David, because I would love to learn more about arranging, except that without that music theory background, I'm not sure that there's too many really beginning arranging classes without going and filling my music theory holes first.
You can do both at the same time. You can go to Harmony University this year. It's late in July down in New Orleans, Louisiana. There's also courses throughout the country. I go to Harmony College East. It's in Maryland, but there's Northwest and Central, and they fly in great a cappella and barbershop people from all over the country, and sometimes all over the world. And the
I think
courses are
Northwest is
cheap
still
like free.
virtual. I think it's still virtual this year.
You're right. It might have been the last couple of years have been virtual. We're going back to in person, both at Harmony College East, which is always